So good morning, students. Welcome to our October Virtual Career Cafe. I'm Amy Good from the Community Education Center for Elk and Cameron counties, and I will be the moderator for today. We are recording this session and making it available for other students to view later. Today's session is to provide you an opportunity to gain more insight and exposure in the construction industry and to assist you in analyzing your own future career choices. We ask that you keep yourselves muted, and if you have questions throughout the session, please put them in the chat and we'll get to them a little later in the program. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Kristen Asinger, who will be introducing today's guests from Kessel Construction. So welcome, Kristen.
Thank you very much, Amy. Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen Asinger, and we are with Kessel Construction in Bradford, Pennsylvania. And my husband and I are actually the third generation owners of the company. It was started by my grandfather back in the 1930s. And then my parents had it, and then my husband and I purchased it from them. And so it's a family-owned business, and it's also all of our employees feel like they're part of a family. And what we do is we build commercial and industrial buildings, not residential. So anything from medical buildings. Right now we're doing a car wash, car dealerships, motorcycle dealerships, breweries, factories, warehouses, all kinds of things like that. And it's there's a wide distance from that we'll go, typically up to about 4 hours away. Our employees will travel to be able to build buildings there. And just a little bit about myself. I was a teacher for over 20 years. And so my husband is the one who runs the business, but I'm part of the support team. And I'm going to introduce to you all, our son is Max Asinger, and he's been with the company about 1.5 years. He's right there in the middle. And then we have Richard Cedar on the right-hand side. I'm going to let them do most of the talking, and I'll be doing some of the questioning. So how about you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves. Tell us where you went to high school. And then just basically, what was your path of what you've done? You can keep everything kind of short, but what was your path to be able to get to where you're at right now?
I'm Richard Cedar. I've lived in Bradford since 2nd grade and went to Bradford High School, and I went to college after high school down in North Carolina. And it was actually a different career path for me at the time, but I was going for NASCAR stuff, and I've just tried to work hard, and I've been in oil and gas my whole life, and just recently switched over to construction. I've done all kinds of different stuff. So
I don't care if you do it on the video. You can't. I wouldn't worry about the video.
I don't know what happened to my papers.
what just happened? Something called me.
Okay, you can continue.
I got him.
Sorry. So I've been with Kessel for 4 months now, and it's a great company, and I enjoy my time here, and it's a good, hard-working place.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm Max Asinger. I went to high school at Bradford Area High School, and then after that I went on to college at Pitt Bradford. I went for my bachelor's in business administration as well as computer information systems, and then I minored in finance, and then I went on for my MBA after that. I've worked as a programmer right out of college for about 5 to 6 years. I worked at Zippo Manufacturing for about 5 years total. And then I moved on to a logistics company they had operations all around the world. So I got to travel all over the place for that. And then just in the past 2 years, I came back to Bradford and started working back at the family company here, Kessel Construction. And I've been working on getting our systems upgraded and getting us more information coming out of our systems so that we can make better decisions out in the field. And be more efficient out in the field as well. So been doing that for about 1.5 years, and I've started switching over into doing some more sales roles as well. So looking at how to estimate out and price out buildings that we're going to be building, and getting all the different trades involved, whether that's, someone that's going to be operating machinery, doing site work, or if it's going to be an electrician that's coming in, we coordinate with all the different trades and contract them out to the customers so we can build them the building. So really get to touch on a whole bunch of different things at Kessel.
Very good. Thank you. Richard, tell us what you do in your job at Kessel.
I am a PM, which is a project manager. I do go out on site and make sure all the procedures and operations are happening correctly and safely. There's some office work that's involved with that, and paperwork and scheduling. A lot of scheduling consumes a lot of my time. Getting, whether it's subs or workers that we have internal inside of the company, getting there on time, getting them what they need. And that's pretty much it. A little bit of traveling, not bad. It's just going around to all the jobs and making sure everything's happening the way it should be.
Very good. All right. And so a couple of questions for you guys. So what do you like most about your job? And then what are the challenges that you find?
The challenges I find are right now in this day and age is trying to find some good people to keep everything going smoothly, I guess, is probably the hardest thing. Other than that, it's just good scheduling and being organized it helps a lot in keeping everything going. So there's not a lot of struggles. There's always struggles in every career, I feel, but this day and age, like I said, it's just finding the people and getting them out there and getting them trained and having a good group.
And same thing for you, Max. And then Richard, you can chime in too about what you like most about your job and then any challenges that you find.
Yeah, so what I like most about my job is, I've always liked knowing how things work and how things are made and what makes things work. So this job lets you see everything into the process of the building and how it's put together from the design all the way up until, how people are actually putting this thing together. So one of my favorite parts about this job is just seeing the whole process of general contractor doing construction. You're seeing every part of it. You're not just in one trade at this point. You're looking at everything now. So I like it because I get to see how the whole building works and how everything goes into it. So that's one of my favorite things about this job. And then another thing I like is, when you're working with the technology aspect of it, you're normally trying to help people do their job and make things easier on everybody. So, your job is almost to help. Your job is to help people, and that's nice when you're getting to help people in your own job. And then one of the challenges, I guess it kind of goes hand in hand with technology, is sometimes it's not always easy to get people to adapt to this new technology. And that's probably one of the biggest challenges I'm facing currently is getting people to adapt and embrace the technology and see what all it can do for them.
And I guess to chime in there on my side, the stuff I enjoy is just communicating with all the people and my coworkers that I gotta deal with every day, and just all different walks of life, and just enjoying their views on how some projects are going and how to make them better, and just I guess pretty much just the people and dealing with the people and making sure everything's going really well. I like that.
Very good. Thank you. It sounds like both of you have a lot of things that you are watching over, a variety of things, and you got to stay on top of things. Is that right? Yeah. And then what kind of training has the company provided for you? And was there any cost to you?
I've done some training. Like I've stated, I haven't been here a whole heck of a long time, but there's a lot more to go. The cost to me is just my time, and but it's been fun. The training I have done has been fun, and we did recently I just went to Reading, PA for a roof detail that's how to install this particular kind of roofing. It was a good time. It was fun, and learned a lot, and I'm glad I went.
And so some of the trainings that I've gone to, they've sent me for, we're a Butler builder here. It's a type of metal building. And so they sent me to a training on all their different types of products, as well as some of the vendors that they prefer to work with. They showed us some of their products as well and how everything can work together. I think that's going to be a training that Richard's going to soon. And then we've even been talking about sending some of the project managers off to a specific construction project manager training. But all the trainings are always free for us. I know there's also been we've been looking for CDL drivers for guys that are out in the field. So we've been trying to find guys out in the field to go and take their CDL certifications, and we at Kessel would pay for that. We'd expect some sort of time commitment to work with Kessel, but you know, it would be free to the person that's working, the employee. And I know that's something that we always try to promote as much training as we can, and we always pay for it.
So the students who are, when they're going out of high school, if they would like to work in the construction field, we're always hiring people, and it's for people who like to see something like Max had mentioned, going from the beginning to finish, to being proud of helping to be part of a team that creates a project like a building that we're putting together. But also it's on the job training. You don't have to go to college or go to tech school. We do pay, it's, you know, paid training out in the field. And then we do have some employees that have gone to tech schools as well to learn how to run equipment, etc. Do they need to go to tech schools to learn how to run that equipment?
No, you don't have to go to a tech school to learn how to run the equipment. There's certain equipment that you do. I guess I kind of have to, there's, you know, if you want to operate a crane on a job site, you 100% need to have certifications. But I mean, that's also something like you're saying, we would, if that's something someone's interested in, we would help get them to that point, because there's also certain things where you need to apprentice under someone that has a license. So we have people that have licenses that could help you get that apprenticeship. So we always want to try and get people more training and more certifications, and we can help make that possible.
Can you tell us about the other jobs that we have in the office as well? So out in the field, we have foremen, and then we also have our people doing, you know, the construction workers putting things together. You can mention the teams that we have, and then also people in the office.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start from the top down. So, you know, everything comes through our sales department. We have a couple of guys in sales. So what they do is they go and talk to customers, find out what the customer wants to build. Then they go and estimate that. So they plug in how much they need for a foundation and for a building, and all of that material and labor that needs to be done, as well as equipment. And then once they have that finalized and the customer signs off on it, it goes on to our project managers, and they manage that project through its whole life cycle. So they're the ones coordinating when people are coming there, making sure people are on site when they need to be, or if there's a delay with someone else, you know, one crew can't get done as quick as they thought they could, and you know, or there's delays from weather, whatever happens, they also help coordinate those changes in time. So say, you know, now you can't be here on this certain date, you got to come later. So they help keep everything on track. Then there's also the drafters, which I guess they come into play kind of before the project managers. They help take that design that the salesperson is working with the customer on, and they put it into a plan view. So it's something that our guys out in the field can build from, and you know, build out this building that is planned for it. And then once you get past all of that, so now it's out in the field with the project managers and the guys in the crews, you have one foreman that manages typically a crew of about 4 guys. And that's, so you have one foreman and then 4 field crews, or 4 field crew members. And then you have 2 different types of crews. So you have a concrete crew, which they do the foundations, floors, retaining walls, sidewalks, anything concrete they do. as well as some site work, digging for plumbing, as well as catch basins, things like that. And then you also have the steel crews, which they're doing all of the steel erection for the big beams that are supporting the building, as well as putting up all the girts and purlins, which those are your members that span between the columns that hold up all your wall panels and whatnot, as well as your roof. And then those are the two main crews that we have, though. So we have concrete and steel.
Good, thank you. And I know we've mentioned a lot about our guys in the field, but we welcome women to apply too. And we have
Yeah.
had women that have worked out in the field. And then we also have women who are in our office as well.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and in the office also, it's not all just construction. We have accounting, we have human resources, we have people who do all the drawings. You know, we have all kinds of, and then our project managers and salespeople. So we have a lot of people that work together as a team from start to finish. And can you guys give us a little bit of an idea of a salary range for someone in your position, but also the people out in the field? And then also, how could someone become a foreman or, you know, grow up the ladder, go up the ladder?
I don't have salary information. That's something I'm not 100% sure on.
I think typically for like a project manager, I think they span anywhere from 50,000, you know, salary to $100,000 salary. It's anywhere in there. It depends, depending on experience and growth internal in the company. So that all changes. So.
Good. And then out in the field, I'm sure it ranges, but I would say, I don't know, 12, 14 an hour, and then it goes up. But you have to keep in mind all of the benefits that the company is paying, including health insurance, and then going into retirement and et cetera. So I was in a meeting the other day, and health insurance alone is about $7.50 an hour per person that works for the company. So that's also part of it. And you can, you know, continue to go up the ladder. Absolutely. All right, so let's do this. Let's see. How about, what's the future look like for construction?
People are always building and expanding. I mean, even right now with, I mean, how the market has been, people are still building. I mean, there's everything with the supply chain issues that are happening right now. There's lots of warehousing going up. It hasn't slowed down at all. And I don't think it's going anywhere in the future either. You know, there's always going to be changes that are coming into play, as far as, you know, what new building requirements have to be met and whatnot. And it's always a changing and emerging industry too, because there's always new technologies that are coming out for, you know, the different equipment that you can put into a building, or just different ways of doing things. So that I was actually just at a conference for sustainability in buildings as well as manufacturing, and that was their whole focus was on how the industry is going to be changing.
And a lot of our customers too, they you know, they'll have something for 10 to 15 years that's already up, and they'll want to add on, or they need stuff, you know, a different style roof put on, or a huge addition put on, or a separate structure somewhere else put on. So it's a lot of repeat stuff too, which is nice too.
Yeah, and it's nice as well because you get to work with a variety of customers as well. You know, you get to work with a bunch of different businesses and see kind of how they're doing things as well. And it's nice. You get to kind of have a little bit of a change up. You're still doing the same thing, but working with different industries.
Good, thank you. All right, so there's a question here on that we were given as guest speaker tips. And so what are any health hazards in the construction industry, whether it's safety or health hazards, to be aware of?
I'd say there's fall risks involved in construction, I guess, but those are, you know, we have implemented things that have, you know, there's catch nets, there's harnesses that you have to wear. I guess safety wise, you know, working out in heat is tough. sometimes. It gets pretty warm, and it's hot out in the direct sun some days, especially when you're on a hot roof that you're having to finish up, or extreme cold too, being out in the cold. It's just it all depends where you're working and what time of year it is. There's different safety precautions for each time.
Yeah, and we have a dedicated safety committee here at Kessel that is, I believe it's a couple guys from out in the field as well as a couple guys from in the office, and their whole goal is to constantly stay up on what OSHA, that's the federal regulation for job site safety. They are always looking at what they're putting out for recommendations, and making sure that we're complying with things maybe even before they're set in as compliance. So, making sure our guys have not just water, but cold water on job sites when it's really hot out. And making sure that they're taking proper breaks so they're not getting heat exhaustion. So we have a committee that's dedicated to making sure that our guys are safe in the field, that they have the right equipment that they need, checking with the guys to make sure that the equipment is still in date and not getting outdated, to make sure that, maybe we have this equipment there, but it's 3 months expired. We have somebody to constantly check on all that stuff with our guys and keep it top of mind, because it's something that there definitely are safety risks in this industry. And it's something that, as long as you stay on top of them and are conscious, you can prevent 99% of the stuff from happening.
That's good. Thank you. All right. So now that we're talking about the people out in the field, how do you handle it when it's a distance away? Do they spend the night in a hotel? How is their mileage paid? Is the hotel paid, food, that kind of thing?
On that, depending on how far away the job is in the scope of work that needs to be performed, whether it's doing a new roof, usually the crew will stay in a hotel overnight. Depending on if it's a week-long job, they'll stay in a hotel all week, and they'll be home on the weekends. They get a per diem, which is every day you get a set rate of extra money for food and covering of just being away from home and stuff like that, on top of your regular hourly wage. You get I think we give I think the per diem is figured in with gas if you have to drive to that job site.
Yeah, so I think they'll do, we pay for travel time. I think if it's like up to 30 minutes or an hour away from Bradford, Pennsylvania. So we pay a travel time, and then there's also per diem if they're staying overnight. We pay for the hotel, and then that per diem covers your cost for food.
Yeah.
So you do make some extra money when you're out traveling, and if you do it right, you can actually make a decent amount more just by grouping up with guys, and if you cook your own food, that kind of thing.
And then sometimes, usually when they are out of town, say a crew's out for 4 days, we'll try to work 10, 12-hour days sometimes if we can, if it's manageable and then the guys like that, sometimes they get some overtime on stuff like that, so
Yeah.
that works out nice.
And if they work 10 to 12-hour days, 4 of them, do they get that Friday off, that other day off?
It all depends. We're really busy. Sometimes it all depends on the time frame, I guess. We definitely accommodate the guys if they need stuff like that, for sure. If they need a day off, I mean, it's.
And sometimes it depends on weather too. So you got rained out on one day, so you get a 4-day week because of the rain day, and now you're trying to make up some time as well. So it all depends, but I know a lot of times they like to work 10-hour days just to get things done quicker, and then if everybody's on board. I know we have lots of side jobs too where people have jumped on and worked some overtime.
Yeah.
And so is overtime time and a half, is that correct for pay? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Extra, and that's always really nice. Good. All right, so here's another cool question that I really like on this sheet. So what advice do you have for yourself? So if you were to go back to being a high school student, but now what you know then what you know now, what advice would you give yourself?
I've always given myself the advice, just to work hard and stick to something. And I've done that for many years. And I just recently switched career paths, but it's just, I don't know. It's go to school if you want and do something. And the tech schools are always a good option too. I went to a tech school and I'm glad I did that. And, I don't know what I would change, I guess. I kind of, everything is okay where I'm at and what I'm doing. I enjoy it. So I'm good. Would you do anything different?
I don't know if I would. So I went for full degrees instead of doing a tech school, and I mean that probably would have been my only recommendation to myself, is to maybe try a tech school instead of going to a full bachelor's program. The tech schools, give you exactly the tools that you need to know. They keep it really interesting because you're learning only the tools that you need to know and the things that are going to help you be successful out in the field. And then you can always go back on to get your bachelor's later if you wanted to. A lot of these tech schools, you might want to look at it up front if that's part of your plan, but see what credits can transfer from a tech school onto a full bachelor's program somewhere that you might want to go to, and see how those could apply. So you could maybe do something that could get you out and working in a field that you want to try and get into. And if you want to go a step further and get your bachelor's to go on and do something more in an office or corporate type field, then you can go on and do that later. But at least you're getting out in the field and even trying to see if you like that job out in the field, because that's one thing I've seen lots of people do, where they go and get a degree, but then they go and work in something totally different. So just make sure it's something you enjoy.
Yes, I agree. And the piece of advice I'm going to give, because I've advised students also as being a teacher, is that I shouldn't say no one, most people, majority of people's paths are never straight. I want to be this and I'm that the rest of my life. So enjoy the journey and learn skills as you go along. Because and try new things and try a new job, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, I really like this. And then someone that from that job is going to be like, you'd be really great in this area, or someone you've networked with will say, you'd be really great at our company, come talk to us. So it's really fun to build up your skills over your lifetime, and enjoy every step of the way. That's my advice to everybody. Any other pieces of advice that you guys have for the students?
Building off what you said, it's not something I would tell myself in the past, because I always tell it to myself, but just always keep learning. That's my one thing that I love doing, is learning new things and keeping an open mind, and just making sure that you always ask why does something work? Why does it, and try to understand things. Because that can help shape your perspective in different ways and give you a lot of insight. So it's always keep learning.
Yeah, I would say too, is just work harder than the next guy. It's always a good feeling when you're working hard and stuff pays off and stuff goes correctly. It's self-rewarding, and you got to work hard. Pay attention is a big thing. When people are talking and you're trying to learn something new, you got to really pay attention and try to absorb as much as you can. That's what I've been doing for my whole life, just trying to absorb as much information as I possibly can to help me, and stuff that I've learned about oil and gas has helped me in this field already. Just from doing that for so long. And it's as you get older, you realize how many things are kind of intertwined with each other, and you can really transfer information back and forth. So it's pretty neat. I just try to learn as much as you can.
Yeah, and I'm going to play off of that as well. Is working hard is really important, and communication is really important. If you're at a job and you see something's wrong, speak up, because that shows that you really care about that company. And so don't ever be afraid, and you'll be seen more as a leader. And all of us are leaders. It's not just whoever is running the company or running your crew. We all are leaders, and we help each other out. So communication is super important.
And I guess one more thing to add to that, if I could, Kristen, is just the professionalism too. I guess as you get older, that needs to, I would say, keep up with what you're doing as well. I've done a lot of different things, and you work in different fields, and you just got to keep stuff professional and just keep a straight head and just work hard. So.
Yep, very good. All right, Amy, can we open it up to questions from anyone?
Yes, students, or teachers, do you guys have any questions at all? If you want to either unmute yourselves or you can put it in the chat. I know I have a question. Do you guys have any opportunities for high school students that are interested in going into this field?
Yeah, definitely. We have, particularly in the field, it would be with either concrete crews or steel erection, steel sheeting, steel roofing, that steel group, as well as drafting is typically where we'll have some interns coming in to get their feet wet and what is involved with drafting. And that's designing the building in AutoCAD and working with computer programs to build out the design of a building in AutoCAD.
That like a school to work type of opportunity, or?
Typically, we'd like to have someone with some drafting experience already, whether that's with a school program, just so that they're already familiar with the program. But as far as for working out in the field, I believe if it's a concrete crew or steel crew, that's something that would be more of, they'll be trained out in the field. They wouldn't have, there's not a ton of schools out there to give them training beforehand. Yeah.
We also have interns, that come in, like Max was talking about, with doing the drawings, CAD drawings and that kind of stuff. And we'll have summer interns as well. So that's possible. And then high school students, I think you have to be 18 to work in the field. Is that correct, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have to be 18, but you don't have to go to school. We can do on-the-job training for anyone who wants to just go straight into it and can start right after high school. And I saw in the chat, there was a question there, about vacation hours and holidays. So I know all of our, the traditional holidays we have off, the crews take off, correct, guys?
Yep.
I think we have 6 paid holidays. Is that what it is?
Yeah, whatever. I'm not sure. Whatever the standard is.
I think
Yeah.
it's 6.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
then we have vacation. It's all depending on time here that you accumulate more vacation as you work throughout the years. That's kind of an individual thing. It depends on the individual and how you're. I guess
You start off with a week typically, and then I think it goes on a 10-year basis or a 5-year basis. I can't remember which, but then every 5 or 10 years, whatever that term is, it bumps up an extra week. I think that's how it is. Or
I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not really sure myself on that. And every company is different on vacation for sure. I know we're Kessel, but I think that, you start with a week, you have your probationary period that you're pretty mandated to be here for your 90 days. And then that stuff comes into play after that. So, yeah.
So what happens in the winter? Are you guys, are your guys employed pretty much all throughout the year?
Yes. Yeah.
That's
We're still doing concrete and putting up buildings all year round.
We have heater units that we put in, we try to build the structure first and then do, some of if we got to pour a big floor, and then we have heaters that keep everything hot and inside, and you use plastic, build temporary structures, anything to keep the snow off and the cold out, and the guys halfway warm so they're not freezing cold.
Yeah, and we have job trailers that we'll bring on site as well that they can go into and heat up as well.
They're heated.
Lunch and yeah.
They have microwaves in them and refrigerators and stuff to keep everything, all their lunches, and a place to sit down and take a break and stuff like that.
Go over plans for the building, that kind of thing.
The goal is to stay active all year round. That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
That's good. That's really great. It sounds like you guys have a great company there. How many employees do you guys have? Do you know, Kristen?
I want to say we're approximately 40 to 50. I know we have around, is it about 12 to 15 in the office? and
Yeah.
about 30 out in the field. That's my understanding right now.
Yeah, about 12 people in the office and the rest are out in the field. Not to say that they don't come back and do some stuff, you know, we have a full shop out back too, that we prepare stuff here as well, rebar and bending our own trim and all that kind of stuff. So some days guys are here in the shop and working, and some days they're mainly out in the field.
But do you have any advice, like for students, if they're interested in going into this field, like things they should be doing at the high school level? I mean, not all of our schools have access to like a career and tech center, you know, to go get those kind of hands-on skills. So any thoughts on that?
You know, I mean, if you're looking to work out in the field, I would, you know, just I hate to say it, but YouTube is a great thing, a great tool to use.
I was just gonna say YouTube.
YouTube's a great tool
Yeah.
these days. There's every bit of information that you can learn somewhere is on YouTube. I mean, it's an endless platform of info. So if anybody's curious about how a steel building goes up, you can for sure YouTube it, and they, some videos are better than others, of course, but they'll explain everything how that goes. And if you don't learn by watching, there's in the summer you can work places and try to work your way up, and
also, I mean, building off of that too, I mean, if you watch a video and you have questions, you come in here asking our guys questions about how to pour concrete in your job interview, they're probably going to hire you on the spot, because if you're already looking at YouTube videos and you're showing you're interested and you want to learn about this, our guys are going to be more than happy to help you, especially if you're showing you're putting in the effort to learn this stuff.
yeah.
That's going to show a lot of effort, and just that you're actually very interested. So that would be just even going out and checking those out. And I mean, I don't have a degree in doing plumbing or electrical or any of this stuff, but I've recently got into doing apartments and turned a school bus into a little RV, and everything I've learned is from YouTube. I mean, the knowledge out there is endless, and it's a great resource to kind of check things out and try and understand things.
All right, Alexis added in the chat about job shadowing, and do we allow job shadowing, and how can she, who could she contact, or you know, where can the students, you know, contact you to find out more? And before you answer, I'm gonna say that job shadowing is one of the best ways to learn if you like a career and have interest in that area, or if you don't at all. I'll just give one example of someone told me a long time ago that they knew a student who went through, you know, 4 years of school for biology and ended up going to dental school, and got into dental school and said, I don't like this. So why work that hard? So try a lot of things, because as a student, to me, when you know what you want to do, it's like a horse with blinders on. You're going after that goal because you love it and you just want to take it all in. So job shadowing in lots of areas is really important. All right, guys, answer. Go ahead. So
I don't think we have an established process set up for job shadowing, but it's definitely not something that we would be opposed to. So if you're interested in this, let's get your contact information, and I can hook you up with our lead project manager, superintendent, Jim Curcio. He's the one that does all the hiring for the guys out in the field, and we could talk about this some more, because I know that's, if someone's interested and they want to learn, we want to have them learning with us.
What's the best way to contact you guys?
So you can call the office. Our office number is 814.
362
Yep.
4696.
I know my cell phone number, but I think the office number.
814-362-4696.
Yeah, we can put that in the chat too if you want. And then
I think we're going to be good. The high school kids, I don't think, and nobody uses landlines anymore. So, but we do here. So
yeah, and I can give you my email address or Jim Curcio's email address, and we can get something set up. You know.
And if you look on Kessel.com, we have a lot of information on there if anybody's interested. There's email address in there that'll get put right to us. There's a all kinds of information on our site, so.
Good. I just put our phone number, the company phone number, and then Max's email address on there. So that is really good. And there was something else I was going to add, and I'm forgetting what it is. Darn it. But how about Amy? Anything else you can think of, or anything from our viewers?
Yeah, I can't think of any other questions. You covered a lot of information, great information that I think the students can take away with them. And if they're interested, definitely you've provided some contact information for them. I love that you are open to job shadowing, because I do agree that is the best way to know if it's a career that you're interested in.
And I would say you don't have to live in the close Bradford area to work for Kessel, especially out in the field. We have people, we had a project manager who drove an hour to come to the office, but our people in the field, they're usually out wherever the job is at. So that varies. So that's not always, the most important thing. So just wanting to learn and being responsible for showing up when you need to, and working hard and continuing to grow as a person, as an employee.
And on that too, Kristen, about the driving, I think there's only three of us that even live in Bradford that that work here in the office out of 12. I think
a majority are Olean, and then we have some from Warren and
Eldred,
yeah.
Smithport. I mean, there's people everywhere. So yeah.
And I think it's great. This is a great career to get into without spending a lot of money. So, as costs rise in education, this is a great option for students to consider if they like to be outdoors working with their hands. Definitely kind of, contact you, get more information, and see where it might lead to.
Yeah. And my contact too is the same email address. It's just rcedar@kesselco.com, which will be up on the screen shortly.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of potential for growth in this industry too. If you keep learning and getting more and more skilled, I think the pay rate she was talking about might have been the base pay, and I know there's lots of room to expand on past that, especially if you want to get more training and certifications. If you're going to drive a truck CDL that requires a CDL for us, that is, that's definitely going to increase your pay. There's lots of steps you can take to increase pay and expand out into the company.
I'm going to add another thing too, about just being physically active in your work. When you come home, you're tired, but you're happy, you sleep well, versus just, at a desk job. And sometimes certain people really enjoy a desk job. I need to be active. I need to have a variety in my life, but each individual needs to learn that about themselves, of what's important and how you function best. So, and I know you guys will go out, and travel to jobs and see people. So you have kind of a mix of both.
Yep. Yeah, and that's good. I mean, I was in, Fredonia yesterday, and then I was in Warren, and then I was at the office for, 3 hours for the rest of the day. So it is a good balance in a business like this, in a position. So it's nice. There's all kinds of perks to it.
Yes, and another thing that you guys didn't mention is you both drive a company vehicle, so you're not using all of those miles on yours. So certain positions, project managers and foremen, and some of the people in the office have their own, have a company vehicle. Cell phones are paid for, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Project managers, sales people, and then all of our foremen out in the field, they get a truck that's completely paid for by Kessel.
Yep. You get your gas paid for, of course, any repairs for the vehicle, and driving it, so. That's a big perk. That's always an ad. My dad, I grew up, he always had a company vehicle, and it's anywhere from $7,000 to $12,000 a year. That's a good bonus. So.
All right. Well, I thank you guys so much for joining us today. A great conversation, great information.
Thanks, Amy.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Amy, and thank you everyone for being here today.
Thank you, students and schools, for joining us.